Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. My name's Kyle or VTech, which whatever you go with, and we're going over the Chicago Blackhawks versus the Nashville Predators, the last game for the Chicago Blackhawks. This wasn't something it wasn't a game really we should have been in at all in the period throughout the game. But coming into tonight, Chicago is 36-33-12, and Nashville is 46-29-6. And if Nashville would have lost, and I think Winnipeg ended up winning, they would have been the number one seed. But obviously Nashville won, so I believe they clinched that spot there. The starting goalies for tonight were Cam Ward, 16-11-4, and with a 3.66 goals against and a .896 save percentage, and Pekka Rinne, 19-4 with a goals against of 2.43 and a save percentage of .917. And so starting in the first period, there was about a minute and a half where the Hawks weren't, they didn't get the puck out of the zone, and you were just like, oh, here we go. And Cam Ward played unbelievably well, and his numbers don't show it, but yes, when he's called upon to be that number one guy, or even when he comes in, or like last night, well, I guess not last night, but the night before, against Dallas, when he'd come in relief of Corey Crawford, he played really great. He made some outstanding saves. It looked like he was 25 again. But at 2 minutes and 58 seconds in, Perlini scores his 14th of the year, assisted by Strome, his 37th assist, and DeBrincat, his 35th assist of the year. And it was like, okay, we score, and I'm like, all right, maybe that was a little bit of a fluke, a little bit, we make great saves over there, the offense goes down and scores, which is good. And then at 10:07, Kajula gets his 12th of the year, and he was assisted by Kane, his 66th of the year. So I'm like, okay, we're up 2-0. Ward's playing unbelievably well. I mean, he's getting a lot of shots towards him, but it's a normal amount of shots, I would say. They in Nashville ended up having like 14 shots in the period, but it was a good game to watch. I mean, it was entertaining. It was fast paced. It was back and forth. But I mean, the Hawks come out of it the first period should have been. They should have been down at least 3-0 at this portion of the game, or at least be 3-2. Ward made some unbelievable saves. Great last game for him. Of the regular season, it was a good game. I mean, his performance does not show on the scoreboard. There's a lot of things that happen that it was just like, yeah, Nashville's a lot better than us, and it proves why they won the Central Division. But the first period, then at 17:30, a penalty by Turris slashing on Kane. I'm like, okay, the offense is going. We have a chance, and the power play fails. And it's one of them things that happen. But the first period stats, shots on goal, Chicago had 8. They were 66.7 in the face-off dot. 0 for 1 on the power play, no penalties, 1 hit, 2 blocked shots, 0 giveaways, or 2 giveaways and 4 takeaways. Nashville had 14 shots on goal, 33.3% in the face-off dot. No power plays, 2 penalty minutes, 2 hits, 3 blocked shots, 2 giveaways, and 4 takeaways. So if you minus the face-offs, I mean, the shots on goal, you can kind of stay in mind, but it's an even game throughout, and the Hawks just kind of squeak by with that, and that's the only scoring they did the entire game. It just, Pekka Rinne, he's a great goalie. I mean, he is a guy to be feared. He played really well besides those 2 shots that went in, and I don't think there was much he could have done on that one. The Perlini goal, Strome was behind the net, sort of off to the side. He throws it out front, and Perlini just finds a beautiful shot in and goes. Just one of those things that it's the light at the tunnel, light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing. You know, you're out of the playoffs, but you want to look for some hope. And I was like, okay, you know, we could go in versus we faced the top 3 people in the Central Division. We're fighting for our #1 spot, and we come out and we only win 2 or 3 of those. But it was still something. Well, besides Dallas, Winnipeg, we lost in overtime. Or did we win a shootout? We might have won a shootout. It's been a hot minute. My bad. But it was, it was still something, especially St. Louis, facing them. You know, we're facing playoff potential teams. And we kind of, just one of those games that ends up happening, and all that other good stuff. But then we go into the second period here. At 9:07, Frobro, whatever the hell how you say his name, he scores his first NHL goal of his career, assisted by Forsberg and Hannibison. Forsberg 22nd, Hannibison his 5th assist of the year. We get a penalty. I forget who, I didn't write that down. But the penalty killers killed that off. We had another power play right after we killed that one off. Or we had another penalty right after that. Too many men on ice. Strome there. He was on a breakaway, but it was one of those ones that he was the one that touched the puck, and there's still too many men. Penalty killers killed off. Right after the penalty kill, goals by Forsberg, his 28th, and Granlund, his 38th assist of the year, and Simmons, his 13th assist of the year. So it's tied 2-2. It was still the Nashville shots on goal were a lot more. Ward having to make unbelievable saves. There's not much he could do on those 2 goals. He was just getting beat. I mean, there was only one goal that he gave up that was like, it was after the end. It was one of those. I'll discuss that. It was just kind of like, they kind of screwed that one up. But the second period stats: Chicago had 12 shots on goal, 57.1 in the face-off dot, 0 for 1 on the power play, 4 penalty minutes, 5 hits, 10 blocked shots, 5 giveaways, and 7 takeaways. Nashville had 21 shots on goal, 42.9 in the face-off dot, 0 for 2 on the power play. 2 penalty minutes, 6 hits, 4 block shots, 7 giveaways, and 5 takeaways. And going throughout this game, Nashville has the worst power play unit in the league. They're 31st in power plays, and that's something to account for in the playoffs, is that power play. Because if you can't score on the power play, you're not gonna make it far. The teams that end up winning the Stanley Cup or make a good push in the playoffs, their special teams are at least in the top half of the league. All right, going to the third period, and yes, I cut this out because I started getting really hot, and it's starting to warm up a little bit, so I need to take my sweatshirt off. But anyway, going to the third period, we come out right away. I believe it was like 3 minutes in, we get a penalty. I didn't write it down, but the power play, our penalty killers fail on this one, and Arvidsson scores his 34th. Smith gets his 17th assist of the year, and Subban gets his 22nd assist of the year. They score, we turn around and get a power play, and we fail on that one. So not much happening. And then it's 3-2. We pull the goalie at 17:51. Empty net goal by Sissons, his 15th. Bonya, his 18th, and Ellis, his 34th assist of the year. Then this is the one goal I think was just like that Ward was just like, it was something he should have stopped. It just kind of went over his glove side, that. And they've been shooting there all. They were shooting there all game, and he was making big glove saves, all that other good stuff. But then at 19:03, Bonya scores his 17th of the year, assisted by Watson, his 9th assist of the year, and that's how the Hawks end the game. I mean, it was a close game till the very end there. Not much you could do. One of those games. So we're gonna go into the game stats here, the end of the game stats. Now I'm gonna go the shots on goal for 33 shots on goal, 54.5 in the faceoff dot, 6 penalty minutes, 0 for 2 on the power play, 9 hits, 11 block shots, 6 giveaways, and 11 takeaways. Nashville had 50 shots on goal, 45.5 in the faceoff dot, 4 penalty minutes, 1 for 3 on the power play, 10 hits, 15 block shots, 10 giveaways, and 10 takeaways. And faceoffs are a big key here, and Nashville started to catch up a little bit then in the faceoff dot, but the shots on goal, the big thing. There was a lot of shots on goal. I mean, the Hawks averaging about 11 shots on goal a period, but then Nashville comes in with their 50 shots, and you can't expect a goaltender to use that's 50 shots. I mean, that's I understand that Crawford had like a 48 game shutout, but the amount of saves Ward had to make were unbelievable. He made one diving one, and I forget who it was. I mean, it was an empty net, and Ward lays back with the stick and sweeps it out of the back of the net. Well, not before it goes in the back of the net, he stops it, sweeps it out. He made unbelievable saves, and that's probably the best goaltender I've seen him play all year, as far as the saves and the agility and all that other good stuff. Getting into the goalie stats here, Cam Ward was 45 of 49 with a .918 save percentage. And 4 goals against. Pecorine was 31 of 33 with a .939 save percentage with 2 goals against. And the stats, the scoreboard doesn't inflect of what Cam Ward had to do. And I mean, with that, especially that one. It was the power play which really ended the penalty killing, which ended up killing it. Was killing that win, or at least going to overtime, was that penalty that we had. I think it was like a tripping or something along the lines of that, but another stupid penalty that shouldn't have been taken. And they cash in, and then now they're playing on your heels. I mean, they score 5 straight goals basically, and you don't answer back, especially having 2 power plays and at least not cashing one of them in. So yes, Nashville had 3 power plays and they cashed one in, but for being it was the worst of the worst with the power the penalty kill and the power play, because Nashville had the worst power play and the Hawks had the worst penalty killing, and it shows that Chicago shouldn't take penalties. And when they give up 3 penalties a game, like I said, once they get to that third one, that more than likely it's going in the back of the net. So then getting into Chicago's individual stat leaders, Gustafsson time on ice was 25-17. Shots on goal was Strome at 5. Taves and Kruger both had 2 hits. Murphy and Seabrook had 3 block shots. Faceoff percentage was Kruger at 51.4. Nashville stat leaders were Josie at 22-37 on time on ice. Arvidsson and Subban both had 8 shots on goal. Watson and Granlund had 3 hits. Ellis had 4 block shots, and Johansson was 57.1 in the faceoff dots. The 3 stars were Victor Arvidsson, Philip Forsberg, and Dante Furbo. Hawks finished 36-34-12 on the end of the season. This was the light at the end of the tunnel I was talking about in these past 3 games. Well, I should say 4 games. Yes, they lost to Nashville, but there's hope at the end of the tunnel a little bit, especially with this long off season. Just depending on what the front office wants to do, and listening to some of the interviews that they had with the front office. They want to improve the team. They want to bring. They may want to sign a free agent. They like the team, but they will always take someone who is better than someone in a trade or free agency. It's just going to depend on what they're going to do. They're going to have to keep Kane and Taves because they gave out the best career. So you can look at it this way. They can either get rid of one of them, which I don't want them to do just yet. They're still, you just missed the play. I mean, you missed the playoffs, but you just, there was a couple games where if you would have won, you would have been standing in the playoffs right now. But career years, they're still producing. Don't destroy the core just yet. But that's gonna. I know it's not a very long podcast, but I'm looking at the future. I'm gonna bring out the playoff brackets, how that's all gonna break down, where I think who's gonna win, all this and that. So that's gonna be coming out here shortly. I'm also gonna be doing instead of the weekly review, I'm gonna turn it into the season review. Just go over the season as a whole, and then I'm gonna break it down to individual people who at least played like 10, 20 games in the season. Break their games down. What their production rate was, all this other, stuff like that. So that's going to be coming out in the future. There's not going to be, a podcast. It's probably going to be like a weekly 1 to 2 per week. And then until, the season starts next year. So I appreciate everyone tuning in who listens. Keep this one short and sweet because there's not really much to go over. I hope you all enjoyed this season as much as I did. Yes, it's not where they wanted to be, but I enjoyed it. A lot of heartbreak, a lot of ups and downs, which makes for a pretty decent season. Just not that they just need that final more step to get back there to the playoffs after missing it 2 years straight. But if anyone wants to comment down below what their favorite portion of the season was, what was the turning point from them getting back into the playoff race, what game or games that turned it to missing the playoffs, what those key games were, and what would you want to see the front office do. We can have discussion about it. I can have a whole podcast about that. So just leave down in the comment section below. But if you enjoy the podcast, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Also share with friends who are also Blackhawks fan, or who, people who are opinionated, all that other good stuff. And leave down also in the comments who you think is gonna take the cup this year as the Blackhawks aren't in the playoffs. I got Tampa Bay. All that other good stuff. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, rest of your evening, and hopefully catch you in the next podcast.